Hello, and welcome to this practice to open the heart through back bends. So I'll offer you an easy version of each back bend, and then at the end we'll top it off with a full wheel, which you can totally skip, and just do a bridge, a supported bridge instead to finish your practice that way. And we'll all finish in a supported bridge, and then we'll do a counter pose to complete the practice. So finding your steady, easy seat, taking the fingers behind you, thumbs face forward, and let the feet lightly press down, sit bones drop into the earth, lift up through the pelvic floor, the low belly. As you do all these things, you might start to feel that there's a natural back bend occurring. And take that mid-spine a little bit more forward, but keep those low ribs tucking in. And then take that upper spine really forward without scrunching the shoulders. Keep the shoulders nice and wide. Really lift and spread that chest. So this is the back bending action, that we have a long tailbone, a wide sacrum, and yet we have that lift up through the front body and that slight pull of the dorsal spine forward towards the heart, bringing the back of the heart into the front of the heart. But then take the face and lightly recede it towards the back of the skull, and that brings the long neck that we need to have. Even in our back bends, we don't want to just collapse through the neck or crunch the neck in any way, lifting the crown of the head towards the sky. And from here, we'll do all 6 movements of the spine in one action. So coming into kneeling, you can do this in a chair if you really need to. Taking the hands to the hips to really press the glutes forward, take the ankles in, reach back through the big toe, plant the pinky toe, lift and lengthen from pubis to sternum, stay wide across the chest, and keep some space in that upper spine as well. And from here, you'll bring the right arm across to the left, up and over. So there was a twist. Here's the side stretch. And then another little twist and in to the back bend. And then here's your little forward fold. So really keep that belly engaged through all these 6 movements of the spine. And we're also really opening up the shoulders here, which is also important for the back bends. And then just pause here for a moment, just reaching back, lifting up, glutes press forward, hips reach forward. And then release, and other side. Inhale, up and over, a little side stretch, and exhale as you reach back. And the gaze can slightly follow the fingertips. Don't let the head and the neck move too much. And remember that little bit of a forward fold as you go through all 6 movements on the spine, on the left and right side. And then from here, coming into tabletop position and tucking the toes under and lifting up and back into downward facing dog. And although in some ways this is a forward fold, it really opens the shoulders, really press back, open the armpits, tuck the low ribs in, navel to spine, long tailbone, buttocks dropping towards the heel. So even in the back bend, we want this forward folding action through the pelvis. In the upper back, take the upper spine in toward the heart, spread the chest, and melt it into the mat. And breathe, ocean breath throughout every asana practice. Arms alongside the ears here, that nice long back of the neck. And then as you're ready, coming back to tabletop position. And from tabletop position, reach the arms a little bit forward. Try to keep the hips in line with the heels. And come forward any amount that you can. And again, we're looking for that shoulder opening. Let the armpits be spacious. Lift the navel to the spine. Tuck the low ribs in, but let the back of the heart really melt in towards the front of the heart. You might be able to touch your forehead here, only if you can do so with ease. Otherwise, put a block under your forehead. But you might be able to get your chin into the mat, or maybe even your heart. Anahatasana, heart posture, heart chakra posture here. And again, trying to lift that low belly in and up. It will be a bit of a challenge in this posture. And then as you're ready, coming up onto the forearms or finding some other way into Sphinx pose. Parallel through the forearms. Hug the ankles in. Reach back through the big toes. Plant those pinky toes. Press into the forearms and isometrically pull them back to lift and spread the chest. Again, bringing the upper spine forward, back of the neck long, reach through the crown of the head, and lift and lengthen through the navel. From here, bring the hands back, hug the elbows in, take the shoulders out of the ears, keep the legs joined together as one as much as you can. They don't have to actually join together, but have the feeling that they might. And then pressing down into the heel of the hand, lightly pulling it back to pull the heart forward and lift any amount that you can. Keep the elbows hugging in, shoulders out of the ears, back of the neck long, and lift and lengthen through that navel. Bhujangasana. And you can stay with Bhujangasana, but if you're able and you'd like to try up dog, straighten the arms, come to the tops of the feet, lift the knees up off the mat, pull the upper spine forward, drop the spine down, the tailbone down, engage those glutes. Full body posture here. And again, can you slightly pull the face in, keeping the back of the neck long. And from here, coming through the tabletop, and let's come up and try that camel's pose again. So taking the hands to the low back, fingers can point down. That helps the buttocks flush drop down towards the back of the knees. Press the hips forward, lift the front body. Don't squeeze the shoulder blades together, but elbows are strong here. And you could always use blocks here under your hands. You could tuck the toes under and reach for the heels only if you can keep the hips in line with the knees. If this is happening, then come back to your integrity by hands on the low back or hands on blocks. And then someday, maybe, you'll be able to reach the hands to the heels. Keep that upper spine moving up into the chest, long through the back of the neck. So you might drop the head back, but you do not collapse it. Hug the ankles in. Inhale to come up and out. Camel's pose. The tendency after these back bends is to want to go into some kind of forward fold. However, do not do that. We'll keep building the heat and using the progress that the spine is making in extension to move into a couple of more back bends. So now, crossing the ankles, rolling over onto your back. Let's come into a moving bridge. Lying down on the back with the knees bent, walk your heels up towards your hips. Reach the fingers towards the heels, press the arms down. Really widen the shoulders here, press the outer edges of the shoulders down, and then press into the feet, activate the inner thighs, and lift those hips up.
and begin to really walk the shoulder blades and the shoulders down the back. Move the knees away from you and move your chest towards you. You will need to activate the glutes here and press into the big toe mounds. The toes are not gripping, but make sure that you're still really reaching down through the feet, reaching the fingers towards the heels. If you can keep the arms in contact with the mat, you can interlace the fingers and press the knuckles away from you, creating space in that front body, knees moving away, chest moving towards your chin. And some nice deep ocean breaths here. And feel free to move in and out of the pose as well. You could do a moving bridge, gently lowering down vertebra by vertebra each time. And when you're ready to come out of the pose also, that's the way to come out. And then just keep pressing back up into the bridge and lowering down. But for now, we'll be coming out of the bridge pose. And if you can rock and roll up, it's really great for your spine. Inhaling up, exhaling back. Inhaling up, exhaling back, and inhaling up. Or roll over to one side and find your way to tabletop position. And from tabletop, tucking the toes under, pulling the front body into the back body, fronts of the legs into the backs of the legs, low belly into low back. Take those front ribs in, and then let the upper spine again move towards the chest and widen the chest. You are lifting up through the inner arm but pressing out through the outer arm at the same time. And then you can step that left foot in just a bit for balance as you come to three-legged dog. Really reach that right leg back behind you. Spin that inner right thigh up to the sky. Engage that right glute and then bend the knee. Pull it forward. Plant that right foot. Plant the left heel and rise up, warrior one. Sitting into that right sit bone, lifting from pubis to sternum and leaning back any amount. It's definitely a back bend. And then from here, exhale, hands down, right foot steps back. Maybe in a bit before you inhale, lift that left leg up. Reach through the left leg. Use your core strength to both lift up and back and to lift that left leg, but mostly it's the left glute, spinning that inner left thigh up to the sky. And then exhale, fold the knee, pull it forward, plant the foot. And as you're ready, inhale, rise up, back leg strong. And really stamping into that left foot as well, sitting into that left sit bone. Lift from pubis to sternum, arms alongside the ears, spacious through the back of the neck. Always keep pulling the face slightly in towards the skull. And then as you're ready, hands down and stepping back to downward facing dog. And from here, stepping up to the top of the mat. Inhale, float up halfway. Find a little back bend in the upper back, but keep that forward fold in the low belly, low back, and fold in. Empty the breath. Inhale, float up. And exhale, hands to the heart. And from here, turn to face the long edge of your mat. Take a nice wide step. And turn your right foot out, your left foot in. Inhale, arms will float up halfway. You're on a tightrope here, lining up that right heel with the arch of the left foot. And try to keep that left arm reaching back, stand into the back leg, and allow the right knee to slide forward, sitting into that right sit bone. Hug the outer right knee into the outer right hip, and press that right sit bone towards the space in front of you.
And you're pressing the left glute also forward, but you're opening here and pressing back, and this thigh, this left thigh, is pressing back. So those nice strong legs again, always need those in a back bend, and then find a little back bend in your warrior two. So the arms are reaching out, but see if you can lift the heart a little ahead of the shoulders. Lift from pubis to sternum, that space in the front body. Gaze out over your right fingers, and again, slightly recede the face back towards the back of the skull. Keep lifting in and up through the low belly. And then as you're ready, straighten that right leg and spin on your tightrope. Strengthen the right leg, reach back through the right arm, gaze out over the left fingers, stay in the back leg, stay in the back arm as you sit into that left sit bone, left knee slides forward. Press that right thigh back, right glute forward, hug the outer left knee into the outer hip and slightly press that left hip forward, but keep creating space on the inner line of the leg. And then lift from pubis to sternum, pull the heart forward, and lightly pull the face in towards the back of the skull. Sit into that left sit bone any amount more that you can. And when you're ready, straighten that leg, release the arms, all 10 toes straight ahead. And we'll come into a forward fold that actually keeps us in a little bit of a back bend. So inhale to lift and spread the chest, and exhale. Rather than trying to come into a full forward fold, do lift the low belly into the low back, but reach the arms out in front of you. And you're really not bringing any weight into those hands. So you could come into the posture without even touching the floor, but you'll touch the floor just for that support of bringing the back of the heart in towards the front of the heart. And keep the arms at least shoulder width apart, if not wider, so that we have the upper spine moving in a back bend, but we're not losing any space in the upper back, and definitely we're opening the chest. And keep taking that navel to the spine. So back bend in the upper body, strength in the abdomen. Long through the side waist, long through the back of the neck. And then as you're ready, inhale, releasing out of the posture, just coming to a half wide-legged forward fold. And from here, taking the hands towards the front of the mat, stepping the right foot back. Once again, your downward facing dog. And as you're ready, coming down onto your knees, crossing your ankles, rolling over, and preparing for a full back bend. So a great way to prepare for the full wheel, Dhanurasana, is to put 2 blocks at a wall and lie down on your back as if you were coming into bridge pose. And your head will be pretty close to the wall, and you will need quite a bit of shoulder action here. We have been working with the shoulders. And place the fingertips on the block and then the palms onto the block. So this really brings the elbows up into the air, which is where they need to be. You can even hug the fingers down the edge of the block if that makes it easier. Bring the feet towards you. Make sure those feet are pigeon-toed. I forgot to say that in bridge. It's really important to keep the pigeon-toe, to keep the low back open. And then as you're ready, as if you're coming into a bridge, lift those hips up, engage the inner line of the legs. Don't grip the toes, but do press the feet into the earth. Draw the low belly in and up. And as you're ready, you can come to the top of your head. And as you're ready, you can lift up out of those blocks into the full wheel. And if you can't, no worries. Just practice bridge instead. So that's one way to prepare to do the full wheel without the blocks. And by prepare, I mean that may take months. It may take months of bridge before you get to working with the blocks, and it may take quite a long time working with the blocks before you get to the full wheel. However, it's okay if you never get to the full wheel. But if you do want to try the full wheel, again, it's as if you're preparing for Setu Bandhasana bridge pose. Taking the arms up to the sky, back behind you, bending the elbows, planting the palms, planting the feet. Engage the core, prepare to lift up and off the mat. Pressing into the feet, taking the buttocks towards the backs of the knees, and taking the back of the heart into the front of the heart, and trying to straighten the arms as much as you can. Strong buttocks here, strong core, strong arms, strong everything. And breathe. Your breath is always your guide. And then just like with bridge, come down slowly, vertebra by vertebra. And rest in constructive rest for a moment. Thighs and knees together, feet out, hands on the belly. And the best thing to do after back bends to bring the spine back into neutral and to help to integrate all of the opening that you experience through the extension of the spine is to twist. So bring the arms out as wide as you can, palms facing down now. So instead of all that external rotation that we've been doing, a little more internal rotation. Take the thighs and the knees apart. Inhale, press the arms down. Feel that space across the chest. Should be starting to have some more ease with that space. And exhale, press to the outer edge of the right foot, inner edge of the left foot. Take the left glute over to the right as both knees drop to the right. Inhale, pull it through center. Make sure you're not just using momentum, you're using your muscular engagement. And exhale, knees over to the left. Press to the outer edge of the left foot, inner edge of the right foot. Take that right glute over to the left. Keep the core engaged. And again, inhale. Use your feet, use your core. And come through center and exhale over to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale over to the left. And inhale through center. And this time we'll stay a little longer in that exhale, inhaling and exhaling here. You can take that right foot to rest on the outer left thigh if you like. And breathe. And then dropping the right foot back, down to the mat, inhaling through center, exhale to the left. And you can simply stay here, breathing, pressing to the outer edge of the left foot, taking that right glute over to the left, or you can take the left foot to the outside of the right thigh and breathe. And from here, inhaling, coming back through center, and find your way into Shavasana. As always, feel free to give yourself plenty of support in Shavasana, a bolster under the knees, especially after a back bend. I would recommend a bolster under the knees. And when you're done with Shavasana, rolling over, of course, you can take much, much longer. I want you to take much, much longer than I just took, we know that we're often pressed for time, so at least 10 full cycles of breath. So, what I hope you felt here in this asana practice was how much we're really supporting the vagus nerve. We're toning the belly, we're opening this area, that dorsal spine area, so that the heart can open. And then really being aware of the back of the neck and this social engagement system. So, even though we open the heart, and we're ready to socially engage, we're still keeping a little bit of observation, right? So that the neuroception and the co regulation can happen. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste.